Did you know low employee engagement costs the global economy $8.9 trillion a year? If your business feels stuck in a cycle of disengagement and resistance, you're not alone, but you don't have to accept it. I'm Sharon, the Culture Catalyst, and I help businesses build thriving teams where every voice is heard and employees feel part of something bigger. Today, I'll share exactly how to build a thriving culture without the overwhelm. I'm going to be using a proven blueprint that gets your team engaged, energized, and completely aligned. Culture isn't just the fluffy stuff, it's the emotional infrastructure that connects your business together. It drives performance, retention, and innovation. Yet, so many business leaders roll out new strategies and wonder why nothing changes, and it's because their culture is not aligned. In this video, you're going to learn how to diagnose cultural blockers that are really holding your business back, how to align your culture with your business priorities, how to embed culture in everyday actions, and how to build a clear, actionable plan. And if you watch to the end, I'll be giving away a free resource that'll help you kickstart your culture shift. The thing is, you can't change what you can't see. Most culture change fails because leaders skip the part where they understand what the cultural blockers are. This is a really important step. It's the diagnostic piece that you need to make sure you've done thoroughly because culture lives in those daily behaviors. It's not just a poster on the wall. You can start by asking yourself in a quick self assessment 3 really important questions. Number 1, do your employees feel safe to speak up? It's so important when you're thinking about culture to create a psychologically safe environment. You need to understand whether within your business, whether people are actually comfortable about speaking up and saying what's on their mind, or whether you're just hearing what they want you to hear. They're actually too afraid to tell you the real brutal truth. Number 2, are your leaders, those people in management positions, are they modeling the behaviors that you want to see in your culture? You've probably heard of the say do gap, and it's super important when you're talking about culture. This is when, as a manager, you say one thing, but you do another. That tells your team everything they need to know. Because if what you say doesn't line up with what you do and the behavior that they see and feel, then you are going to come into problems because the trust that you've built up with that team will completely be eroded away. Number 3, is your mission really clear and is it lived out on the daily? So, what I mean by that is culture is about how it feels to work in your business. So, you really need to tune in to what people are actually experiencing when they work for you. Now, once you've answered these 3 questions, if any of your answers to those 3 questions are a little bit in doubt, you're not actually quite sure, then you need to go and ask your team. Gather some real input through surveys, listening circles, focus groups, or conversations. This is how you identify any misalignments or trust gaps that are blocking your engagement. We're now moving on to step 2 of the blueprint, which is about aligning your culture with your business priorities. Culture is your emotional engine for your strategy. You can have the best strategy in the world. If your culture is not aligned to it, then you're wasting your time. High engagement drives 20% more profitability. Who would not want a business that's 20% more profitable, a fifth more onto your profits? Having a healthy culture also lowers turnover. So we know from recent research that if somebody walks out of your business, you're going to have to spend at least a third of their salary finding their replacement. So if the average UK salary in business is around 30 grand, it's going to cost you 10 grand for every person who walks out the door. Culture work will only stick if people see how it connects to business outcomes. For example, I want you to pick the biggest challenge that you're facing in your business right now. Maybe it is high turnover. Maybe it is poor performance. Maybe it is kind of declining customer service. You need to ask yourself, how is our culture helping or hurting this? Because when culture and strategy align, then engagement becomes the byproduct. I'll say that again. When culture and strategy align, then engagement becomes the byproduct. So if you're losing people through high turnover, it could be that you have some problems within your recognition program. people are not feeling valued, perhaps your policies are a little bit rigid, so there's not the flexibility that people are looking for and expecting in this day and age. If innovation feels sluggish and slow, the fear of making mistakes is a cultural barrier. You need to connect your culture efforts to your business plan for buy-in and momentum. Step number 3, overcome resistance and gain the buy-in you need to change your culture. When people push back and give you that resistance, it's not failure, it's feedback. And most of the time, employees will resist change when they feel like it's being done to them instead of done with them. So, how do you reduce resistance? Listen and involve people. Do it as early as you possibly can. One really powerful technique that a lot of businesses I work with use really effectively is to tell stories. Use those stories and way more than you would ever speak about the jargon of the change that you're trying to implement. For example, if you are introducing a new process, a new system, then don't talk about functionality of the new system, technicalities of the new process. Tell the stories about how that system and how that process impacts on the daily working lives of their colleagues. If Bob in accounts has to jump through 3 different hoops before he can process an invoice, but the new system allows him to cut that down to just one thing he has to do before he's able to process that invoice, then we talk about the impact on Bob's role. He has way more time, he's much more effective, he can process twice the amount of invoices than he used to be able to. The other way to overcome resisting change is to recruit some change champions. Now, these are people who are early adopters. These are people who really get it. They're aligned with your culture. They have influence over other people in your business and they can really help you drive through this change. Number 4, how do we really embed the culture so that it actually sticks? This is my most important step in the blueprint process. For me, culture sticks when you make it a habit, when you're intentional about it, and it affects the things that you do on a daily basis until they just become the norm. You have to recognize and reward the behaviors that you want to see, the behaviors that represent the culture that you're trying to create. You need to equip your managers with the tools, the confidence, the capability to model the behaviors so that they can show people how it's done. They can lead the way. Because we all know employees do not quit companies, they quit bad managers. They quit those behaviors that make your workplace toxic. So use those daily rituals, whether it's a shout out on a regular basis, whether it's starting your meeting, reminding everybody of the mission, the values, why your business exists, whether it's putting in regular listening opportunities, pulse surveys, celebrating those really important values moments. All of those things, if they happen on a daily basis, then they're the things that are going to make your culture stick, because those habits and rituals are what will make people realize this is here to stay. Finally, you want to build your culture shift action plan. Please remember, culture is a journey. It's not a tick box exercise. If you want to put a culture plan together, you need to follow a few different steps. Firstly, you identify those blockers, diagnose the things in your business that are causing you a problem. Communicate clearly why this is happening, what are your intentions, do it really simply, but do it often. Keep returning back to it so that people know that you are taking this seriously and that things will shift as a result. Equip your managers with the skills, the knowledge, and the confidence to lead culture on a daily basis. Track and measure what you're achieving and celebrate the quick wins. And there will be them, but if you just let them go by, then people are going to just think, oh, what's the point? Why am I investing and spending my time trying to change things when I do get a result? Nobody notices. That's why you've got to really keep the employees right at the very heart of what you're doing at all times. Remember, when it gets measured, it gets managed. Think about this as something as important as your sales figures, your performance stats, your customer service metrics. The metrics that are linked to your culture and how you're changing things are as important as those things that drive your business performance. If you're serious about changing your workplace culture, first step would be to download my free ebook. The link is in the description and it covers all of the steps that we've gone through today, but also brings it to life with some case studies and examples. And there are some additional tools in there to help you. If you want some more expert guidance, then check out the link for the 1-hour training webinar that goes into this in a lot more detail. I'll see you next time.